Hello class, I hope you had a wonderful holiday. Today I'm going to talk you through hyperbolas, and I think after this video you will be absolutely fine drawing them by yourself. If you look at the standard form of a hyperbola, this formula should look exactly similar to an ellipse to you. X minus h, y minus k, that's going to be your center. It's over a squared and b squared. The only difference between a hyperbola and ellipse is that there is a minus here instead of a negative. The other thing you're going to want to watch is that in an ellipse, I can put the y first instead of x, and you'll see what that does. By putting x first, my hyperbola will open this way. If my y squared term is first, it will open this way. A hyperbola is just an ellipse turned inside out or backwards, however you want to describe it. So let's go ahead and jump right into a problem. Here's my first problem. I have x squared over 9 minus y squared over 25 equals 1. So the first thing I'm going to do, just like an ellipse, is graph it. After graphing it, I can then simply get my vertices and covertices. So the first thing I'm going to realize is it's x squared and y squared, so this is centered at the origin, which is 0, 0. My pen is acting up. So then I'm going to plot that point 0, 0. The next thing I am going to do is take my a squared, and since it's under my x, I am going to move the same as I would with an ellipse. Since it's a squared, I'm going to go over 3 and put a dot. I'm going to go left 3 and put a dot. Since 25 is under my y, I am going to go up 5 and over 5. So, if it was an ellipse, I would connect them. It is not an ellipse. It's a hyperbola. So what I am going to do is draw a box around these dots. So I'm going to connect them like this. That's my box. In order to help me construct this ellipse, I am going to put dotted lines through my box. They're my guidelines. Since x squared is first, if you remember back to this slide, it means my hyperbola will open sideways. And my guidelines are going to be these extensions. So here is how I'm going to graph it, right to this dot and then back. And then here to this dot and just back. These dots here and here are your guidelines. You're going to go to, you just touch them, but you're going to stay along the dotted lines. If y squared was first up here, then my hyperbola would open up this way. That's the only difference. To get the vertices and covertices, they are going to be these 4 points that we graphed, just like an ellipse. Your vertices will always be the point that the line was graphed on. So this point here and this point here. So my first vertice is 1, 2, 3. So it was -3, 0 and 3, 0. My co-vertices were the points that helped draw the box but weren't part of it. So that is a 0, 5 and a 0, -5. okay? And that's it for hyperbolas. There's a little bit of a difference when y squared's first. So let's do one more. Of course, I throw this one in here, that it's not equal to 1. Well, just like any other problem, we need to set it equal to 1. So I'm going to divide by 32, divide by 32, divide by 32, and I'm going to get x squared over 16 minus y squared over 4 equals 1. Now it's a standard equation of an ellipse. The first thing I need is the center, which I simply have is 0, 0, so I go here and graph. You can do that. To do my vertices, remember, if this is under the x squared, so even if the x squared was here, you're still moving on the x-axis 4. So I'm going to go 4 to the right and 4 to the left. My y-axis, this is always under my y, so I'm going to go up 2 and down 2. And then I'm going to draw my box that connects my points. Go ahead and do that. The next thing I'm going to do is dotted diagonals through my boxes. Diagonal through here. Okay. Since x term is first, then I know that the x points on the x-axis are what's important. So I am going to draw my hyperbola by touching that, but staying inside my dotted lines. And then I'm going to do it here. Okay? That's it. That's drawing your whole hyperbola. So the only thing I have to remember is to write vertices and covertices. My vertices are what point I touch. So if you remember, on the x-axis we went over 4 and negative 4. Sorry. And on my y-axis I went up 2 and over down 2. So those are my covertices. Okay. Okay, here's the next style example problem. Instead of x being here and y being here, these are switched. Yet, the problem's not set equal to 1. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to get y squared over 25. I'm going to get x squared over 4. And I'm going to get a 1. So here is some of the biggest mistakes that come out. First of all, your center here is still 0, 0. But the problem is this. People will look at this, and even if there's a shift, if the shift is with y, that's still your y value. And your x is still your x. And it's the same thing with graphing. When I graph, I go to 0, 0. This 25, even though it's first, is under y. So I go up 5 and down 5. Go ahead and put your dots there. Then I go over 2 and over 2 because this is under the x. And I am going to draw my box. Sorry. The next thing, so go ahead and do that. And if you need to pause the video at any time, remember it's a video, pause it. I'm going to draw my diagonals. Then I'm going to draw my diagonals through my dot and through the corners. Please be as accurate as you can. And then this is the only difference. Since y is first here, it is a hyperbola that opens up and down. So that's going to be that one. And this one's going to be here. Remember, it just touches your box. It does not go inside your box. So, my vertices now, since these are the points I touched, those become my vertices. So it is 0. So my vertice would be 0, 5, 0, negative 5, and my covertice would be 2, 0, and -2, 0. Okay. All right, let's see the next one. So go ahead. I'm going to pause the video, please. Do this one by yourself. And then I'll just put the answer up and see if you get it. Nothing's different for this one. So go ahead and try it on your own, except Y's first, which means the hyperbola will open up. So pause the video and do it by yourself. Most important thing, hopefully you remember that since this is under the Y, you go up 2, down 2, and that 36 is under the X, so you go right 6. Okay, so your equation was y squared over 4, x squared over 36 equals 1. I'm going to put my center at 0, 0. I'm going to go up 2, down 2, right 6, left 6, draw a box, diagonals through the corners. When I draw my hyperbola, my dotted lines are my guidelines. I just touch the box. Therefore, my vertices are 0, 2, 0, -2, co-vertices 6, -6. Okay? Do this one, please look. It goes back to x squared being first. So go ahead, pause the video. Do this one on yourself, please. Pause it. Okay, so sorry guys. I know my drawings are not that neat. My pen's giving me a really hard time. So I have x squared minus y squared equals 1. I have 9 and 81. So my x shift is left 3, right 3. My y shift is up 9, down 9. My center is 0, 0. My vertices are 3, 0, and -3, 0. My co-vertices are 0, 9, and 0, -9. All right, so now we start an ellipse that has a shift, but everything else is going to be the same. So the only thing is my center now, because it's minus, minus really means 3, 1. So my center is at 3, 1. So instead I go over 3 and up 1. My horizontal shift, which is under my X, is over 2, left 2. It is then up 6 from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I draw a box. I put the diagonals through the box in the corners, through the center. I then say, I know that it is X, so I know my hyperbola is going to touch my X's because the X is first, so it would be over here. Okay? My vertices then, guys, this is why you graph it. My vertices are where it touches, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many did we go over? I don't remember. Did we go over? We went over 2. So it's 5, 1, and 1, 1. And my co-vertices are the points I use, but not that important. So 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 7. And 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, -6. Okay? So please try the next one. Pause the video. Try the last one by yourself. Or is this the last? Okay. So just remember, we're going to divide by 16. We're still going to have a shift change. Our center. Oh, never mind. I do want to do this one with you real quick. So divide by 16, divide by 16, divide by 16, y squared. Over 1 if you want, minus x minus 3 squared over 4 equals 1. Okay, here's the biggest mistakes with doing hyperbolas. This is a hyperbola in which y is first. Well, when you write your center, this is still your x coordinate. So it is +3, 0 is my center. So you've got to be super, super careful because people just want to put this X and that Y. So that's my center. Go ahead now. You're going to go 3, 0. I'm going to do my horizontal shift, which is under my X. That's 2 this way and 2 that way. My Y shifts up 1, down 1. It's a real small box. Diagonals in the corner.